Senator Lee. Here. Senator Banerjea. Senator Castellanos.
Here.
Senator Johnson.
Here.
Senator Mosley.
Here.
Senator Sanchez Martinez. No, Jackie. Senator Tovar.
Here.
Senator Von Boris.
Here.
Senator M.
Here.
Senator Cowell. Here. Senator Schulte.
Here.
And Senator Quiventoro.
Here.
Um, 17 present senators, so quorum is met.
Okay, so for our first order of business, I would like to open the floor to Dr. With for any COVID updates. And firstly, thank you for joining us, Dr. With.
Hello. There we go. Thanks for having me today. If you want to, feel free to pull up the Health Alerts website if you want to do that, but I'm just going to walk through that website from Friday. Our number Friday was 141 active cases on campus at that time for last week. A total of 114 of those had direct campus impact, 27 did not, and 123 of those were students. So the majority of what we're seeing, the vast majority of our cases are from students and not from staff or for any employees, from staff or from faculty or even student employees. As you work your way through, you can see we've had 746 cases since we started counting again in August. From a testing perspective, those numbers are looking good. So since we started testing that week of August the 16th, we've had 10,866 tests on campus, and these are the ones that are happening at Curative as well as at the Student Health and Wellness Center with a 4.42% positivity rate. If you're paying attention to what's happening in the state and around, you'll see that that percentage is hovering around 14% in most of those places. So our positivity rate is really a positive sign. The last data on the website from the dashboards from the vaccine incentive program, you'll remember that it had closed the week before, but we posted at noon on Friday, and it didn't close until midnight on Friday. So that final number of participation is 12,452 in the vaccine incentive program. I think you all know that well, let me tell you the comparisons, because remember, I like to give you these. At the time last Friday's numbers for Texas Tech were 217, for Texas State were 267, University of Houston was sitting at 428, and Texas A&M was 1,474. So our numbers still compare well to those institutions that are acting similarly. The mandatory testing interval closed Monday night at midnight. And so we are working through the data, and by we, folks that oversee our Salesforce area, making sure that we are getting all the duplicates out. All that stuff is happening right now. We took all the testing up through the evening on Monday. And so for those folks that tested through Curative, they don't post until the results come back. So we still have some results that we're waiting on that'll come back should be by today or tomorrow. So I think by Monday for sure, we should be able to have finalized all of the numbers, and that will be reviewed. And so there'll be, obviously, information will be posted back to the website on what those final numbers are for the testing interval. And then I'm certain that the president will make some sort of announcement, have some sort of communication about the success or lack of success of the mandatory testing program. What questions do y'all have for me?
Yes, Senator Johnson, go ahead.
So, so for our people who have submitted their vaccination records to be kind of the incentive was to get the prize or be entered into a drawing, when will those be going out in terms of if you've got them?
That's already been done. We've sent the last prizes. Those went out the week of the 10th. So that date, those last went out. Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Yes, Senator Johnson, go ahead.
Just one more. So, are you saying that we're for our COVID levels, regardless if they're from the staff, even though our staff are showing that they're the lower ones in terms of data of bringing COVID or having COVID, it's mostly the students that we're staying pretty level and not going high or low has been pretty about the same.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Meaning, like, we're not seeing a huge increase in spike in cases. It's just kind of been kind of level.
Correct. So we have been pretty consistent over the since we started. So yes, very consistent.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Senator Andy, go ahead.
Thank you. So you noted that students have a higher proportion of, or you noted that students more often are the positive cases. Is that proportional to the proportion of students to faculty? Because it's my understanding that faculty is outnumbered pretty greatly by students, but you suggested that students were doing something worse than faculty.
So we have a ton more students on campus than we do employees. So we have 42,000 students, and I'm sorry, I don't have the exact number, 42,300, I think, students enrolled this fall. And our employee number is about 4,300. So there are 10 times more students on campus than there are employees. And when we look at the numbers from last week from the site, we have 18 employees and 123 students. So there's not 10 times more students with cases. So I wouldn't say it's the exact proportion, but it would make sense that students are the majority of the cases that we have.
So you would say that cases are about proportional between employees and students.
I think that's a fair statement, yes.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Senator Lee, go ahead.
So for the students who are testing positive, do you have any data between students living on campus and off campus?
I don't have the data in front of me. We've consistently had somewhere around 30 to 60 students in housing that have had to either isolate or quarantine. Isolate means they're positive, quarantine means they're a close contact. So it's been around that number, but I don't have the exact number in front of me right now. Any other questions?
Yes. So would someone recognize the interview? Oh, no, wait.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So for the people who have not sent in the status of their vaccination, let's say that they were contacted by the contact tracing team of the COVID department here at UNC. If they sent in their vaccination status, like their card, to those people in order to avoid the process of quarantining, would the COVID team then take that vaccination and add it to the big submission that everyone was supposed to do?
No, they wouldn't. All that is on the student. So the student would be the only person that can share their own vaccination information. So they wouldn't even have access. The contact tracing team does not ask for documentation of your vaccine. If a student or an employee offers that they've been vaccinated, then they talk through that process with them. But they don't require that vaccine record be provided to them. They likely wouldn't take it. They wouldn't ask for it in an email or any way. The only time that we even look at a vaccine card is if a student opts out of the mandatory testing or they decided that they wanted to participate in the vaccine incentive program. And they're uploaded, they're verified, and then deleted.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So you mentioned that the total number of participants we had in the mandate was 12,000. And obviously we have a lot more students in that. Do you have any ideas on making more people participate? Because obviously they're going to have some consequences, but just for the overall, because the main point of the whole thing is to keep us safe as a campus. So I was wondering if you had any new ideas on how to, I guess, advocate more for students to participate in the program.
So that 12,000 number is the vaccine incentive program. That's not the number in the mandatory testing program. I don't have that number for you yet.
Oh,
It
I
will
see.
be Monday. It will be Monday. So, and I believe it will be more than the 12,000, but I don't know the answer to that. And some of the 12,000 likely had the opportunity to move their vaccine incentive card over and or opt into the mandatory testing with their vaccine.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? I appreciate you guys continuing to wear your masks. I think that campus is doing a good job where we are right now. We still have a lot more work to do, but I appreciate everybody's participation. And if y'all have got questions in the meantime, don't hesitate to ask. And hopefully someday I won't have to give COVID updates. Make everybody happy, right? Anything else before I go? Thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Dr.
See you
With.
later.
Okay, we're going to have executive reports now. So exec, I ask that you please come on down and present your reports. And then senators, you're free to ask your questions afterwards.
All right, here we go. Mic check, mic. Can everybody hear me? Senate, are y'all excited to be here? Yes. Woo. Woo. Okay, I'm y'all.
Sorry, everyone. Good to see everyone. Just before we get started, as y'all can see, we did have a change in classification for diversity and inclusion. Now we have 2 co-directors for diversity and inclusion. This is going to be big when it comes to streamlining what we're doing. So it kind of has separate roles. So now Alexis will be focusing more on the ambassador program, while Zoe focuses more on administration and outreach events. So just to clear that up first and before we go into reports, but thank you.
Okay, I'm back again. Interns say hello, Senate. Cool. Okay, I hope everybody is excited to be here. I'm always y'all friendly reminder to at least have fun or act like you're having fun. As far as my exec report, the interns did have their first official meeting this past Monday, which they got presentations over the executive branch and Senate from David and I believe some of the other Senate officers and also Devin to handle the executive branch side. And the feedback was really well on both ends, so it went well. I couldn't be there due to the Black Student Union inauguration, so I wasn't able to make the meeting, but I will be there next week. Intern 101s, that scheduling is open for them on OrgSync. Me and David did have a meeting earlier today to discuss the new Senate changes due to some senators leaving from Senate. And so those changes were with intern Sarah and Justin, and their new senator will be Kristen. Am I saying that right? Kirsten. Okay, cool. So Kirsten from the College of Business, you'll be with Sarah, and then Senator Ted, you will now be with Justin. So if y'all can shake hands, wave me. Cool. I'm preparing for next week's meeting. We'll be covering, the mentors will be covering that meeting, and I think that they will be doing a resume/career workshop, but that's still to be determined. We meet on Friday to finalize what they'll be meeting with the interns for. Also, too, for the presentations that were done, we're going to try to get those out to the interns just in case they needed something on Monday or whatever, like they missed a part of something on Monday that they need more help with. So Senate officers and David and Devin, just if we can do those things. And also thank you for being there on Monday. And then lastly, I want to give a special shout out to our intern, Justin. He went with our president and vice president and chief of staff out to UNT Frisco, and he went with them and had a good time and got to meet the dean and do stuff like that. So I wanted to give him a special shout out. So yeah, and that wraps up my exec report. Did I have any questions for this week? No? Cool.
All right. And then there should be a link for Matthew's executive report in the chat. All right. Any questions for Matthew's report? I know he goes into a lot of detail. So if it's very specific, I would email him at sgacom@unt.edu. If you have any general questions about his path or what he's currently pursuing, I can answer those. All right. All right, I'll go down to Alexis's report now. Good evening, the executive board, senators, and other guests. I understand that you have not seen my face in a few weeks, and that is for good reason. I'm taking care of myself mentally. I'll be back in person soon and look forward to taking your questions in person. The following is my report of the things I have worked on for this week. First, I've had discussions with co-director Zoe Brown and President Skinner regarding our roles within the executive branch of SGA. I will now oversee the amazing ambassador program and make it into something that'll be a huge highlight for the next administrations to come. We will continue to work on passion projects as well as having them be fantastic liaisons for the Student Government Association. Next, along for the ambassador program, we are planning on creating new tabling supplies, such as a new board that won't be damaged easily, new information, and any other extra knickknacks that would bring people to a table for any events throughout the year. If you have any ideas, please feel free to email me at sjainclusion@unt.edu. Also, I'm very excited to be working with the ambassadors and the Outs director for the resident town halls as we continue getting ready for this Friday and the forthcoming days. Lastly, with my job description changing slightly somehow, I will be incorporating the ambassadors into the UPC regarding Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I'm still in communication with Maha regarding this, and we will now have to incorporate volunteer ambassadors into that program, and they would like to not be giving up on this event. If you have any ideas or would like to help out, please email sjainclusion@unt.edu. All right. Any questions?
Thank you for sharing those reports, Casey. And up next, we have our co-director of Diversity and Inclusion, Zoe Brown.
Thank you, guys. Good evening, actually. So I want to share first my progress on current events as of today, as I've been sharing with you guys. The two main things being the self-defense course and the town hall event. So as Matthew stated in his video, he went ahead and created our graphic for us and posted on social media accounts, as well as the link for registration at RSVP. Casey created that for me yesterday on OrgSync after not receiving a response from University Tickets. That was originally where we wanted to go with it for it to be a little bit easier, but we had to make adjustments. As of right now, there are 4 submissions, so I feel like that's really good progress. It was posted last night, and it'll be available until this Friday for RSVP. As I've been telling you guys with the town hall event, me and Casey are finally meeting with UNT PD tomorrow regarding final details surrounding how we're just going to approach it, how we can collab on some things and just get that settled. So I will provide further details and outcomes in next week's report. So as far as potential events and initiatives, I set an agenda for this semester based on level of priority. So I'm looking at things like documented and undocumented resource students and their resources and support on campus, as well as the space for Latinx dance group, just securing room for their practices and trying to help them with that. International student barriers, whether it's going to be resources, support, transition, potential orientation, and things like that. I'll go into further detail in the next section. And gaining engagement from CVAD as far as the available Senate seats that they have. Another thing that I've been working on is I sent a survey to the executive staff to gauge for potential initiatives and events, and I intend on sending one out to senators in the coming weeks. This is just going to be some things as what you would like to see me do in my position, just related to events and initiatives to get your input on that. Native American Heritage Month is coming up next month and it'll carry over until November. I've been working with Deborah on coordinating events and planning for that event. So far, we've been in contact with Dr. Lisa. I have a hard time pronouncing her name. Euler, is it Euler? Sorry. She's a full professor of government, and she's a Ojibwa Indian. Forgive me if I mispronounced it. And she frequently does lectures. So we're hoping that she'll come out and speak to students and just share some information regarding their heritage and their history. But as always, you can email me with any suggestions or ideas at sgainclusion@unt.edu. And I'm currently planning a meeting with Stephanie Brown, Director of Orientation and Transition Programs, to discuss a potential 0 credit hour, like an optional program to ease international students onto campus and smoothen their transition by providing those resources and support that I mentioned earlier to address things such as the disparity between U.S. and home country educational systems. It's come to my attention that there's a great difference between their home country and how we do things over here. So we kind of just want to get them in sync and make sure that they fully understand and they have that support and backing while they're here. And that is all. Thank you.
Any questions? Senator Schulte, go ahead.
Hi, Zoe. I was just wondering, could you spell out the name of the professor?
So her first name is Lisa, and her last name is Uhlir. Sorry. And as far as I know, she's a professor at Tarrant County College. I believe she's done some work with UNT as well, but that is her main focus right now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions? Okay, well, and thank you, Zoe. Next up, we have our outreach director, Maya Stevens. Go ahead, Maya.
Good afternoon, y'all. Our first resident town hall is taking place this Friday, so woo! We're visiting Joe Green at 5 p.m. and Kerr Hall at 6 p.m. So if you live there or you know anyone who lives there, please let them know about this event. This week, I'm just ironing out all the details for this event, making sure we have everything in place. I made some final tweaks to the survey that I was going to use for the town hall circuit, and thanks to Krista for helping me finalize that and giving me some helpful suggestions. We have a QR code set up, so it'll be easy and ready to scan. For the giveaway, I was going to have students show me proof that they completed the survey and then use the card swipe system we can use to collect the 8-digit IDs and add them to a random generator that will select students to win a prize. Other things that we're focused on for this week is town halls, just marketing and advertising for the event. We also have Clark and Maple being hosted at Clark Hall on Monday at 5 and 6. I've also been in communication with an intern from the Counseling and Testing Services, collaborating with them for Fresh Check Day. Fresh Check Day aims to create a comfortable atmosphere where students are highly encouraged to engage and talk about their mental health and help bridge the divide between students and mental health resources that are available to them. And I expressed interest in this event for SGA volunteering to help set with prep and setup. So if any of you are interested in volunteering, interns, senators, mentors, or ambassadors, please email me at sgaoutreach@unt.edu so I can get you more information for that. The event will take place September 30th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the South Lawn. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, Senator Quibendoro?
Are you looking into doing town halls at any other residence halls for this semester?
The residence halls? We're visiting all of the residence halls. Yes.
Senator Lee?
So I could have misheard, but I believe you said you're doing Maple and Clark like in a joint one next week?
Yes, it's going to be hosted at Clark Hall just because Maple has limited space in their lobby. So Maple residents will meet at 6 p.m. and Clark residents will meet at 5 p.m.
Okay, that's just what I was wondering because I was like, Maple has a much bigger capacity of residents than Joe Green. So I was
Yes.
like, why are they having a combined one? But that makes sense.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Senator Johnson, go ahead.
Have you visited Rollins Hall yet?
No, I will provide a list of the schedules for events. Rollins is on the list. We're kind of just going down the street in order, and then we're
Yeah.
doing 2 a day, Fridays, Mondays, and Thursdays.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Senator Lee?
Oh, me again. So what are you working on promoting this? Because like I'm housing staff for Maple and I haven't heard about our scheduled thing, so I'm just wondering how you're planning to reach out to the residents. Because I saw like the post that you did SJ, but like I don't, as far as I know, most of like the actual housing staff for the dorms isn't aware.
I've reached out to the community directors of all the residence halls, and I'm sending flyers so if they want to provide them to our RAs, we're still kind of working around like soliciting policies and everything. I don't want to just post them randomly without permission. So I'm communicating with the community directors on that. So any other further thing, SGA will post it.
Can someone please recognize JT?
Senator Johnson recognizes JT.
Senator Shiloh seconds. Could you say that again? Whoever seconded.
Senator Shiloh seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to say, I'm an RA at Rollins, and yesterday we had our staff meeting, Maya, and it was brought up. So our staff is fully aware that you will be visiting soon, and we're already just waiting on y'all to send us the marketing material so that we can pub it. So I'm not sure what other halls are doing, but for Rollins, it was brought up in our staff meeting, and we're very aware that you are coming.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And yeah, I'll provide more flyers once I finish working with Matthew on that and finalizing everything. And so they'll be sent to all the community directors.
Senator Johnson, go ahead.
What would you say would be the goal, like you would hope to see? What would be the benefit of having this? That you say this was an accomplishment?
So honestly, just getting feedback in general. The survey has a lot of basic and general questions asking about transportation, meal swipes, safety on campus, feeling included on campus. And it's just to gather feedback and information, seeing what exact problems there are and if there are solutions to them. We're just trying to pinpoint problems and then also bring it up in Senate or write legislation over an issue, a repeating issue that we're hearing from students who live on campus. The goal is to gather information so we can better their campus experience. Of course.
Any other questions?
Thank you. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Senator McAdams.
I am so sorry.
No worries.
This might have already been said, but are you planning on these town halls to be a recurring thing or just this once?
Yeah, so I want them to be a recurring thing. Maybe we can make it like a once a semester thing. Hopefully, with the attendance and the dates we set, we can see what time works better and what days work better, so that way we can have more involvement and engagement. So yes, I do hope to have them recurring, and it's also easily accessible. You know, like town halls, you have to go to a certain place, but we're going to be right in the lobby where people are walking in and out. So yes, yeah.
Yes, Senator McAdams, you may
Just
continue.
checking. Do you anticipate having any senators be able to help with this sort of thing in the future?
In the future, yes, of course. So far, I just have exec members and ambassadors working with me on this, but we're gonna do the first run to see what works best, and then we can open it up to having SGA volunteers and everything. So yeah, of course, yeah.
Thank you.
Senator Brown, go ahead.
Is it my understanding that you are also involved in the external committees? Is that correct?
I am
another
just the
executive
interim chair for all the external committees.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Of course. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Maya. Next up, we have our Student Allocations Director, Bella.
Hi, everyone. I'll just hop right into it. So the Eagles Nest Fund has now allocated $5,558.06 this semester. We have around 53 grand left. There's obviously more numbers and cents, but so 53,130 and 13 cents left for the school year. The Eagles Nest Committee met last night to vote on an application from Composers Forum. The application was approved unanimously and they was fully funded. The Eagles Nest Committee will meet next week to approve a possible 2 to 4 applications. I've been meeting with a lot of orgs, so if the applications come in tonight or tomorrow, they'll go to the committee next week. BSU Community Day and Inauguration were this past Sunday and Monday. Senator Johnson and McDowell were at these events separately. The ROP Committee has now received, or the ROP Travel Grant has now received applications as well. Applications are divided into 2, so one for organizations to apply to and one for individuals. We've had an organization apply for 13 members to get funding for ROP, and then we've had an individual apply as well, so they will go to the ROP committee next week to be voted on. I've had around like 6 in-person meetings and 5 virtual this week with organizations that just have questions about the application, just walking them through it, figuring out how are we going to submit this, what's best for you, that kind of thing. Resource meetings will continue to be held on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. in language 323. As always, I can accommodate different times if asked. We're going to have a resource meeting at Discovery Park this Friday at 3 p.m. Graphics should be up late tonight or tomorrow. That's up to the comms director. I've continued to work with our approved organizations to get paperwork, help them through the Eagles Nest process, which is a lot for these organizations to go through, by the way. Help them fill out their financial forms, get everything arranged for them to pick up their Eagles Nest funded items, that kind of thing. And then I continue to file away all of our approved documents for future student allocations directors. Any questions?
Senator McAdams, go ahead.
So you mentioned that it was about like $50-something thousand left. Is that for the semester or is it for fall and spring?
For the whole school year. So fall and spring.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Bella. You can clap.
All right. Hello, everyone. I do want to thank Maya so much on these town halls. It's been a lot trying to get them approved through housing and then going from the director to assistant directors and now down to the CDs and getting all the other logistics figured out. We do have them planned for all town halls except right now McConnell Hall. So that's something we do want to reach out on is about how we're going to approach TAM students. Because we believe that is a little bit different and we want to, do due diligence to that. So do expect us to reach out about TAM's Senator Qui Ventura. But yes, I just want to speak on that for the town halls. So for my executive report, So right now I'm focusing on finishing a sponsorship that President Skinner approved and getting payment for the Definitely Dope event that's on September 30th at 7 p.m. We are paying for $330 of accommodations for an interpreter at the event. So I'm working on getting that, how that payment will get figured out to the interpreting agency. I'm putting another polo order in to get any sizes that we did not have. So we have sizes for all ranges, as well as I put in an order for Kroger today for committees, as well as we have the finishing up stuff for the self-defense course. I had that org sync file as well. Had that visit to Frisco this past Friday, so that was a good experience. I know Devin will probably speak on that a little bit. And then, of course, helping advise on any town halls, the self-defense class, merchandise that you saw with comms director, and seeing what their direction is and what I need to do to assist them. Got the voting drive approved by the union, so we'll be working with Denton Votes to have a registration drive on the 28th from 11 to 2 p.m. And then, yeah, and then we've been asked to possibly participate in around 3 or 4 different events. We're seeing what can actually work and, you know, stuff that doesn't overlap. But yeah, that's coming in the next month or so. So we'll keep you updated on that. Any questions?
Senator Johnson, go ahead.
So obviously today was the first day of fall, and it was a little bit chilly today, in my opinion, but very nice though. Will there be any sort of long sleeve materials that you will be buying? Is it strictly just the polos and call it good?
So for my shirt I put in now, the order is just for the same polos.
Okay.
We don't have any shirts mocked up or anything yet. That's something that Matthew and his team's working on right now, seeing within his budget, seeing what he can purchase and seeing what students are actually going to want. We don't want to buy stuff that is just going to be sitting in the closet for 4 years. So, so they're mocking up stuff. We're going to look over it, and you know, as you see, Matthew's going to show y'all other stuff, and we're going to see what is viable. So,
thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Casey. And then next up, we have our president, Devin.
Thank you, Saloni. Sorry I had to get here a little late. It's been an interesting day. I wanted to address a couple of things before I really got into the report. In terms of the t-shirts, our budget is not what it was in previous years. So in the case that we do get, say, long sleeve shirts or something like that, it's not going to be to the same quantity as previous years. We're really relying on those short sleeve shirts because we just have so many. I think also there was a question about committees. So Maya is the interim chair, but they also manage the like not necessarily the business of the committees, but any like administrative or like back end support. And so if y'all are having any issues with that type of thing in terms of committees, that's who you would reach out to. If you want to learn, if you have a question about appointment to committees, I'm the person you would want to reach out to because I'm the one who's managing that. Okay, so we'll get into this. First off, Gavi Lott has submitted their resignation. It was an amicable separation, but that position is now open, so now we're trying to figure out what the best course of action is for that position. Possibly looking at putting it under a volunteer admin team under the president's office. The president's office doesn't usually have an admin team, but we're doing a lot this year. So that's something that we're investigating. But that is the most recent staffing development in addition to the DNI director changes. I did reach out to Krista. I've begun inquiring about the process for selecting a student regent for the next academic year. So if you didn't know, the Board of Regents for the UNT system has one student representative on the board. That student representative bounces between the campuses throughout the years. So 1 year you might have UNT Dallas, which is this year. You might have UNT HSC, which is in Fort Worth. Next up is the UNT Denton representative. And so we're beginning the process of looking into what that would need to look like in terms of applications, governor's office, all that kind of stuff. I don't know who all attended the State of the University, but that's something that happened throughout the last week. A few different things came up. I won't discuss all of it because it is available on the website, but I'll discuss some of the highlights. There's going to be a 0 credit hour course for incoming freshmen starting in fall of 2022 that will teach students about career exploration resources, communicating marketable skills, and resume writing. They're also going to embed career coaches in each of the colleges, whereas in the past you would go to the Career Center for career coaches. They're starting to try to push that out to the colleges. I think the number that was thrown around was 30 coaches. And so student affairs, academic affairs, and the office of the president are all going to share the cost of what that would need to look like. They're expanding the Mean Green Mentors program, creating the Center for Counseling Diverse Populations, expansion of the unpaid internship scholarship to $300,000, which would come from donor funding. And basically that would be 300 scholarships of $1,000 each per person. That's for students who have to have an unpaid internship as a part of their degree plan and can't pay for, the necessities. Freshmen would use My Plan, which is a software to help people understand their career ambitions when they get into college. So those are a few things. I encourage you to check out the address. There's some important information in there. And it's definitely going to have an impact on the next class of freshmen. We're looking for folks to join the Union House Guidelines Committee. I've put Casey on that committee. I'd like to see if we can get someone who's not an exec to also be on the committee. Basically, that committee establishes what the rules and guidelines are for union usage. And so it's a fairly important committee. If you care about what happens at the union and what that looks like for students, I encourage you to reach out to me. I am the one appointing to the committee, but I don't want that to just be exec if I can help it. All right, so there was a student that came to me. They're having some accommodation problems with online learning, particularly as it relates to deaf and hard of hearing students. Still trying to grasp the issue a little bit more. That's not an environment that I live in, so I'm trying to take the time to understand it before I fully discuss it. But we're going to work with ODA in regards to if there needs to be any kind of policy changes to better assist deaf and hard of hearing students. We're still finalizing some of the details for the Commission on SGA governing documents. I believe Casey reached out to the senators asking for availability and scheduling. If you haven't responded to that, please do so. And then I'll work on getting y'all some of those names for exec. Still trying to get some input on who's available to do it and who wants to do it, all that kind of stuff. I did speak at our most recent intern meeting. I think that was the first intern meeting. Okay. So the first intern meeting was within this last week. David, myself, and Andy had an opportunity to speak to the interns and discuss the role of the Senate in the SGA, and then I discussed the role of the presidency and the executive branch. And I think that was a very involved and detailed conversation. According to what we've been hearing, it was apparently pretty good. I hope y'all enjoyed it. But of course, if y'all have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out. So I've initiated conversations with Dr. With on starting up the Student Service Fee Committee meetings. And so we're going to have a discussion about what that needs to begin to look like. And I've met with Taylor Thompson on the Distinguished Lecture Series, and we're going to be setting up our first meeting soon. We're a little bit further along on the DLS committee than SSF, but we are getting there. I appointed Casey to the Athletics Council. We would like to have someone else on the Athletics Council. Again, someone who's ideally not in the executive branch. I think they're only having one more meeting for the rest of the semester. It's in November. So if you're interested in something like that, please feel free to reach out. I've concluded my judicial branch interviews for those that proceeded to an interview. And again, we have pretty low turnout on that. We actually don't have enough applicants that would feel comfortable sending any of them to the Senate. What I don't want to have happen is there be 1 or 2 Supreme Court members, and then there be a Supreme Court to go to, but you either have an even number of people, and then they're not able to come to a consensus, or you have 1 person. Both of those are not ideal. So once I have at least 3 members for election board and the Supreme Court, that's something, and I want to recommend that to the Senate. That's something that we'll do as soon as possible. And then the Advocate General, there's only 1 position on that. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more information on that, probably sooner than the Supreme Court or the election board. I have a meeting scheduled with Dr. Wolf on Friday. I think that's in regards to the Keynote Speaker Series. Could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's Dr. Wolf that I'm speaking to about that. So we're going to get some more information on that. And then, of course, due to staff changes, I'm going to be amending the EPM Executive Policy Manual to reflect some of those changes and responsibility changes and all that. And so once that's finalized, I'm required to send that to all active members of the SGA, and so y'all will get a copy of the revised edition of the EPM, and then as soon as possible, it will be uploaded to the website shortly after you receive it. So, and then Frisco, that was a very good meeting. To the best of my knowledge, that's the inaugural meeting of the SGA to the Frisco campus. And so we had a very lengthy conversation, which I appreciated. We had a very lengthy conversation with the Frisco Dean about what Frisco students are facing, the types of issues that they're facing on campus, the disconnect between Frisco and main campus. We got a lot of really good information, and they seem very excited and interested in being involved in getting a senator for Frisco. So hopefully we'll start seeing some Senate appointments for Frisco, and likely they would participate virtually. We made that drive to Frisco and back. It was not an easy drive, and I wouldn't expect them to do that for a Senate meeting every week. So that's likely what that'll end up looking like, but we're very optimistic about what that relationship with Frisco will look like. Of course, if y'all have further questions about that, you can feel free to ask, either in the meeting or outside of the Senate. But I think that concludes my report, so if there's any questions.
Okay, we'll start with Senator Johnson, please.
There we go. So in regards to the external committees where we had some senators who've left and some of them were appointed to the external committees, what is that looking like in terms of replacing them, or are we just looking at like what we have is what we have?
So senators were appointed to the committees separate or regardless from the Senate. Now, they're supposed to do that for the Senate, but once they're appointed, they're appointed. Unless UNT policy dictates otherwise, I have the discretion to remove someone from the committees, but I don't do that unless the senator asks to be removed from the committee. It depends on the person who leaves on whether or not they stay on the committee. Some have stayed, some have not, but I leave that at the discretion of the person, because there's a reason why we appointed them to that committee. Is because we felt they would be good for it, and we don't want to remove them just because they left the Senate. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Senator Brown, go ahead.
So you have this new issues form, correct? And is there, or do you plan to make a committee to deal with the complaints and the issues that come in from this form?
Issues form.
The one that Matthew created.
Can we? It's of course at the discretion of the Senate, but Casey's raising his hand. I think he's got a response to that.
Senator Johnson recognizes Casey.
Someone second.
Senator Brown seconds.
Yeah, so the form that Matthew has made, we did have an original form, and this is really pretty much bringing it up because it was very to the bone. There wasn't much substance to it. So he's redeveloped that, made it more user-friendly. Now for the committee-wise, we haven't talked about a committee. It would simply be banked, and then as of right now, we'd be able to access it on OrgSync, so which would be Matthew. So, but any concerns would end up being brought to the president himself, and then it would be sent to whatever the necessary parties are, if that makes sense.
Point of order. Who seconded Grant for recognizing? Thanks.
Thank you.
Senator McDowell, go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker. So can I ask, you mentioned a 0-hour course. Can we get some more information on maybe what a 0-hour course is and how it would entail to this? Kind of like what the time commitment would be and whether it would be mandatory.
It's a good question, and I do recommend checking out the website for more information. I don't want to misrepresent what President Smotrisk's goal or vision is for that seminar. It's called a seminar. The purpose is career exploration, so understanding how to know more about your career and also learning how to learn more about others. I believe the understanding is that if you start to do that early, it helps with the degree planning process. It also helps in terms of understanding what it takes to get into the career that you're trying to get into, what skills you need to have, how to market those skills, and of course, resume writing. And so I don't know what the time commitment is. It might be on there, but I don't remember that being discussed. But whatever it is, it would need to be enough to address those topics. If that's still the plan by fall 2022. And as you mentioned, this is a zero credit course. So my understanding is the students wouldn't be charged for it because it's 0 credit hour. And I don't recall if it was mandatory for freshmen. So I don't want to speak exactly on that. But again, I would refer you to President Smotrisk's address, which it breaks it down to bullet points on there, but it also has a full transcript. So you can read the full transcript, and then there's a video that you can look at. And there's also a downloadable PowerPoint, and you can check out the PowerPoint that was used in that as well. So I don't have a lot of information on it for you. I think this is still somewhat in kind of a developmental phase. But the information you're looking for, the extent to which I know about it, is also on the website, and I encourage you to check it out.
Senator McDowell?
And my next question is the complaints form. Will that information be coming to the Senate? Because I feel like complaints would be pretty helpful in developing legislation, especially if it pertains to a particular senator's college.
Yeah, so that's still in the developmental phase. I would need to take a look at whether or not there's a privacy concern, whether or not these are submitted anonymously, and if they're not, is there an expectation of privacy? We'll review some of those things, and we'll make sure that there aren't any issues. We'll also need to talk about the logistics for getting it to the Senate. Maybe there could be a standing committee in the Senate that reviews those, or I don't know what the case would be. So there needs to be a little bit more fleshing out of the issue, but I would want the Senate to be as involved as possible. We just need to figure out what that would look like, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Senator Brown, go ahead.
So do you have any knowledge as to whether freshmen are going to be coming in as undecided? Since what it sounds like is my plan is about degree exploration and major exploration.
So what I know is they're trying to expand the influence and possibilities of integrative studies majors and some of the majors over at Frisco in order to emphasize a career focus. So in terms of whether freshmen are coming in undecided and if that's an official status, I don't think anything would change in terms of official statuses. At least from my experience as a freshman, I had a general idea of what I wanted to do. I'm still kind of struggling with that in terms of the details, but I know for freshmen it can be a lot. So to a certain extent, I feel a lot of freshmen are kind of undecided as it is, but I don't think that's going to change any official statuses of the university. Now, I'm not the one managing that program or that initiative, so I don't, it's possible they're thinking of something. I don't know. I wouldn't speak to it, even if I had a vaguest idea. But my understanding is it wouldn't necessarily change degree plans or anything like that. It would simply give students an opportunity to learn more about themselves and what their ambitions are so that they can more quickly have a better idea of what their degree needs to look like and how to get involved in the workforce.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
Do you have any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, here we have someone I'm sure you guys are already missing, our Vice President, David.
Hello, everyone. How we doing? Doing good? Yay. So I know it looks a little different this meeting. I'm not presiding over this meeting, but I had a field trip. It was short, came really quickly back from Dallas. But I think Senator Banerjea is doing an amazing job at presiding over the meeting. So yes. So my report, a couple things I want to start off is, as you know, Senator Bailey did resign, so that's another senator down. So I know something that I've been communicating with the officers is overall trying to see what I can do to help relieve any stress or do anything on that part. Just because I understand that as we continue to get to more in the semester, it's getting a little bit more stressful. We have more tests going on. So I totally understand. So we're working on our end to see what can we do to make sure you're being successful in your role. And that can also mean having a Senate social, and that's something that was recommended to me, is overall making sure that Senate is overall being fun. And I know for the most part, we're pretty involved in serious stuff. So maybe it can be a day that is dedicated during a Senate meeting. It'll be a Senate social in its place. I know we did that last year. I'm doing any measures to make sure that senators don't feel excluded or don't feel welcome. So I just want to make sure that I'm gonna do my part to reach out to everyone, especially my new senators, because I just want to get feedback. Feedback is always welcome. Any feedback is good feedback because overall it helps me change things along with the officer team. The officer team has doing an amazing job as well on their end to collect that feedback and share that with me. So that was one thing. The next thing is I am on the Transportation Advisory Committee. So I'm going to share some things that were discussed in that meeting, and it should be super helpful for y'all because this has to do with the Go Zone program and overall shuttle buses that are going to happening. So overall, I want to give you a recap on permits. So as you know, this year, transportation has changed their permit system for a year-long basis to semester basis. So the Eagle Spring permit will go on sale tentatively late November, early December, so people can get that, especially our commuter students. Bill Donovan, the senior director for transportation, went over some stats regarding game day. He reported that there was 100 people that were towed on the first game day. And the second day, or the last game, 47. So overall, I'm going to be reaching out to transportation because I know a lot of people were expressing on social media the lack of clear communication on that front. So we're going to make sure that we're both on the same page because overall, I know they're doing an amazing job. I just want to make sure they're getting more of that student perspective and feedback. DCTA shuttles. So overall, Bill did express that DCTA is going through some staffing issues. So overall, the staffing levels are not there to accommodate people. They're very aware of after 5, no transportation to Disco Park. They're doing their best on their end to change that. And of course, there's high demand for shuttle service. And of course, now increased demands. As you know, the Go Zone program, that's something that's new and it's running parallel with the connected routes. So essentially, I don't know if you've seen the vans around, those are going to be the new thing. Essentially, you would pay 75 cents. Get on, it's like, think about it like Uber plus like bus plus train. One thing that I really want to stress out is Route 7. So that's the route that goes to Razor Ranch. They're thinking of their board will determine in March of 2022 to continue with that route or get rid of it. So overall, I know that a lot of our students use that route. So I definitely want to make sure that the student body knows what's going on with changes, because DCTA is going to go through a lot of changes. Last thing is, if anyone wants to reach out with me or Senator Mosley as well on rules and regulations. So transportation is going to update the rules and regulations, and they would like for us to reach out to our constituency, see what can be changed, what can be improved, and have those before January, because overall it has to go up to the chain of command so they can get that for the next year. I'm trying to think anything else. We did meet with Frisco Dean, as Devin mentioned. Justin, awesome. He went with us as well. One thing that me and Devin are really working on is making sure that we can get someone from New College or a seat from a senator from Frisco, because historically, since those positions or those seats has been created, no one has filled the seats, and I want to make sure that I'm doing the best on my end to make it easier for anyone that are attending courses at the Frisco campus can still connect with the Denton campus and express those concerns as well. So we're doing the best on our end. I know something that we express is hopefully hybrid will continue to be a thing in Senate. I know that was something I was a bit advocate for, is continue having those hybrid meetings so anyone can tune in virtually. Also, one thing that I want to add on, it's going to start happening next week, will be college reports. So college reports are something that we have done, and I usually wait. Historically, the speaker has waited until we're in a good period to have college reports. So what those are is overall collectively, let's say class. Y'all would collectively collaborate and have one person, or maybe all of y'all, present your report to the Senate on what have you currently been doing, what's your projects. So overall, the Senate body knows what you're currently working on, as well as office hours. I know, and tabling has been a lot. Totally understand, but biggest thing is I need people to reach out to me, because overall, when people do, things are addressed faster. I know a couple people have come up to me, expressed, "Hey, David, I wish you did this way." That's why I send my email on Monday, helping y'all out, because overall, I think I have not been clearly communicating enough. So I want to make sure that I'm doing that on my end, making sure that I'm making sure y'all have all the information needed. So if you have not submitted your form, I need that ASAP. The reason for that is it takes 5 business days to go through the union. I know Discovery Park has done an amazing job getting it through fast, but the union, because there's a lot of orgs, it takes longer. So for a couple of y'all might see it not be in time for the date that you have selected. If that happens, you are okay, because overall it wasn't your fault, but overall I need it to be now, because if not, that will consider to be an absence on your total attendance. So I don't want that to penalize you. If it's on their end, we can easily fix that. We can easily excuse that so it doesn't go against you, but I'm just throwing that out there now. I need those forms. I know I got a couple. And if you are, like, for example, doing with someone else, I know Senator Hester and Senator Lee are like, you know what, David, I want to do tabling together. Just submit one form for one date. Because overall, if you put both your names, both dates, then you're kind of binded with them. So there is that. I'm trying to think anything else. Again, y'all, please reach out to me. I am in the office, especially Fridays, all day. Y'all can always come in. If not, I'm going to start doing is posting my schedule on the team, so you know exactly when I'm in there as well. So you can always stop by and call me. Last thing before I conclude my report, college deans. So overall, I've been getting responses. We have from the second wave, the College of Business on Friday. Me and Hester are going to go. I'm going to reply to your email. But yeah, so that's going to be our first meeting for that second round of deans. I know that it's been a slow process. I do apologize, but overall, I'm trying to do the best I can on my end to make sure we're having those meetings set up. So again, if you want to partner with me and collectively go as a group to meet with your dean, because I know it can be a little bit intimidating, please reach out, and we'll definitely get that sorted out for you. But of course, if you need anything, you can always email me at sgavp@unt.edu. But now I'm opening the floor for any questions.
Senator Johnson, go ahead.
So previously, when you the beginning of your report, you said that you were taking into some considerations and thoughts of what you would want to hopefully change to make it less stressful and preserve, I guess, make it as the Senate or SGA is involved or like fun as possible. Can you elaborate on that, of what ideas you are considering?
So what I was talking about was having a social be in place of a Senate meeting. I know that's something that I think can be beneficial, especially because I think we're purely business. And I think it's good to start building personal relationships with people. I think that's important. I think that overall helps each other communicate better. It makes us closer. And I think that's something that we're lacking because overall, if you look around each other, when is the last time you hung out with a senator nearby you? Usually not, unless you know each other prior. But I know some senators have reached out to me. It's like, hey, David, I haven't hung out with anyone. I don't feel included. So overall, people are feeling that. And I want to make sure that people feel welcomed and people feel like they can go to anyone and work on something or talk or hang out after our Senate meeting. So that's something that I'm working on my end. But overall, I understand a lot of y'all do know each other prior or have got to know each other. That's wonderful, but that's not everyone. And I want to make sure everyone feels the same way you feel when it comes to like, oh my God, you get really excited. And you're like, hey. But yeah, that's one thing that I am considering. Any other questions? Senator, oh, never mind. I'm not presiding.
Senator McDowell, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think we could probably make a form or something if you guys wanted to get involved, if you had any ideas. I like ping pong personally. I might submit that idea, but we can definitely take ideas. Because certainly not right now, but certainly in the future.
Yeah, barbecue as well sounds good at a
Barbecue,
park.
yeah.
One thing I wanted to add as well was if y'all can please on Teams post the location of your office hours. I do want to make sure I'm posting. I know I did it for Senator Cowell because I know you're like, I am doing it in room 276, the Jazz Wing. Me, look at me go. Just because I want to make sure that people can reach out to you. I know Senator Ted, Senator Shiloh, and a couple in Luke, as they'll have posted on their stories. I try my best to check on them and add it to the SGA, but because of class and stuff, I don't get to it. So I do apologize on that end. But we are doing the best we can on our own end to make sure that those posts that you're posting are on the main accounts.
Senator Johnson, go ahead.
So for the solicitation forms, if we just submitted those to OrgSync on, do you take care of that? Or they're good, they're gone? Like make sure that they uploaded correctly.
Yeah. I don't know if Saloni, if you want to go to the Teams channel, so we can go over that. I know.
Just to because I know I submitted mine last night, and
yes.
I don't know if it was approved by dates. Everything was on there.
Yeah, I just need. So what I do is I download the PDF. You can expand that. So when you click on it, something I did for y'all to make it easier was fill out everything except your information. So when it says organization representative, that is your name. When it says phone number and email, that is your information. The dates and times, that's for you. And of course, if it's inside the union, please check that. If it's outside in the library mall, please check that as well. And I added a description of activity. I know something that Andy mentioned. If you scroll down, people were like, what about all of this? I know my emails and my previous messages on Teams, I did not include this. So I know there is some misunderstanding on that front, but overall, the only thing you had to do was fill out Devin's and Chris's info, but I did it myself just to make it a little bit easier and less confusing for everyone. But once you submit all of that, just upload it. I I will print it off and I will get Devin and Krista to sign it because that's extra work. And overall, y'all have class. Krista's not in the office. I know I have Krista's schedule, so over. I don't want you to take more steps to do that as well. But everything is on Teams. I try to do a pretty good job on putting everything on there. I know I posted that a couple weeks ago, but I know, as Andy mentioned, that sometimes Teams can be not confusion, can be a little bit complicated because some things are not clear enough. So I'm doing the best I can. And also, you want to go on files. I post everything for the most part on there. You can go on there. There's resources for you. There's stuff on there as well. There's that PDF that I mentioned, but everything is on Teams. If you do not have access to Teams, because I know Saloni was like, hey, like, I don't have it on there. And she was earlier. Please reach out to me so I can remove you and re-add you, because I know there's a glitch going on. There's a little bug on that front, but everything should be on there. And of course, you'll definitely get my midnight emails as well. But any other questions y'all have for me?
Senator Brown, go ahead.
You were discussing transportation in the bus system earlier. I know currently students, their student ID works as a bus pass. So is there any initiative to do something similar for the Go Zone, or will the students have to pay for this as well?
To my understanding, I believe students have to pay. And that's one of the concerns that I know we expressed on our end when that was being implemented, was students have to pay 75 cents. 75 cents may not be a lot to some of us, but it can be a lot to a lot. It's a lot of people. I know something that, I mean, their meetings are open. We can express those concerns. I know something that during our special session in the summer was getting feedback and for them to fill out the form. I believe that form is public information. But overall, that's something they already implemented. Changing policy, that would be something that we would have to connect with their board and see if we can do something about that. But at the moment, because has been approved and been implemented, I believe if students that use the Go Zone would have to pay that 75 cents.
May I ask a follow-up?
Yeah, go ahead.
From my understanding, I've used the Go Zone once myself. That 75 cents is only a promotional, and that from what I can see from the app, after the first month or so, it's going to be $3 for a whole day, as opposed to the 75 cents. Is that correct?
I do not know, because that's something that Bill is working with the CTA. But Devin has his hand raised. I know someone would like to recognize Devin.
Senator Brown moves to recognize the president.
Senator Johnson seconds.
Thank you. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't have this pulled up. But my understanding is that because in order to change the rates, it would require a vote of the DCTA. So my understanding is that the 75 cents per ride will remain the same. The $3 a day, I believe you could do now, but the $3 a day is the standard rate for a day. 75 cents is the standard rate for a ride. And that should remain consistent until the DCTA board decides to increase or decrease that rate. Again, I could be wrong about that. We can get you some more info about that, but that's my initial understanding, having had some conversations about the subject.
Thank you.
Senator Cowell, go ahead.
I have a tabling related question. My office hours are in the College of Music, and I'm also going to be doing tabling in the College of Music. Do I need to carry the table from the union to the College of Music?
I can get back to you on that.
Okay.
I know I can reach out, but I believe no. But I can reach out to the union to figure out how that process works for outside the union. Unless Krista, do you know that? If someone would like to recognize Krista to speak?
Senator Cowell recognizes Krista.
Senator Johnson seconds.
Hey y'all, so the union, that was the mic. the union will not provide a table outside of union managed spaces. So you'll have to talk to the building manager of the building if you're in something that's not in a union space. So in this case, the College of Music would need to provide you with a table.
Follow-up question. What tabling related materials would I need to take?
So I know it says in our code of conduct to reach out to our chief of staff in advance for any promotional items. But you can come to me for that. I know that we're a little bit limited on a couple items, but for right now, pens and metal straws can be an option. Yes, no. But you can just reach out to me and we'll figure it out. Yeah. Bam, bam. Okay. Any other questions you have for David?
Senator McAdam?
So you mentioned earlier that you're trying to make the Senate more fun, and have people enjoy their time on the Senate more. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you have a plan of action for the high levels of stress that senators have been experiencing from time requirements and constraints that I bring this up mostly because senators have left, and I'm concerned that senators will continue to leave and continue to feel like they have they're too stressed and they don't have the time to commit to the amount of requirements that we currently have.
Yeah, of course. So if you want to elaborate or talk more afterwards, you can shoot me an email and we can talk privately. But overall, I know committee assignments are a big thing because they're involved in more than one external committee. So overall, like I've been saying, is our Senate meetings can go as long and short as y'all decide, because overall, I'm the presiding officer. My job is to make sure the meeting is running as smoothly as possible. If there is items that you feel need to be deliberating more on, that's your right as the Senate. But overall, that is your responsibility when it comes to Senate meetings. But overall, I would love to talk more about any concerns like that in my office. But just reach out to me. I'm here to help as well. Devin has hands raised.
Does someone want to recognize?
Senator Johnson recognizes President Skinner.
Senator 10 seconds.
I was just not to get into the Senate policy too much, but this is probably a little bit more along the lines of committees. If you feel as though there's too many committees that you're assigned to, please let me know. I'm not gonna have any hard feelings if we need to evaluate your membership on any of those committees. There's some where I put y'all on a number of committees because I felt like that was a really good fit. But ultimately, you need to just reach out to me if you have an issue being on so many committees. We'll work with you to try to find the best solution. So yeah, just want to throw that out there about committees.
Yeah. Making sure. I don't know how this works. So besides the committees and the committee involvement, is that like the other considerations are still, being considered, I assume?
Well, if anything you want to reach out to me, we can just email me and we can have a meeting. So anything you have in mind specifically?
I mean, just in terms of the time requirements overall, not just in terms of being a part of multiple committees.
A lot of this responsibilities are in our governing documents, but I don't know what specific thing you're referring to, but of course we can talk afterwards. That's something that you're interested in. Again, like I said, my office is always open to y'all. But again, I can't change things if I'm not getting feedback or people are not coming to me directly, because overall I only hear it from, I heard it from someone else. Does it make sense? But again, I'm always here. I'm here to listen. I know me and the officers have had conversations about that, but no one has been coming to me directly. So that's why I'm trying to reach out to people and do the best I can to attend office hours. I know I have class, so I can't go to everyone's, and I have other time commitments as well. But I'm doing the best I can. But again, there's so much I can do if no one's coming to me. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, sorry, I'm packing. But yeah, I understand. I personally haven't been able to because I have stuff every single day, all day. But I can send you an email, and maybe if you're still around, we could talk after.
Yeah, even on the weekends. Like I know, during the summer, I know, like at midnight. I remember Luke. Remember you reached out to me, and you were like, "Hey, David, can we meet up this time?" I was like, "Hey, is that okay? It's at midnight." Like I am a late owl. I'm here to. My job is to support, make sure y'all are supported, and we're helping y'all be successful. But there's so much I can do if no one's reaching out to me, and so far no one has. So again, my doors are always open. I know I had conversations with a couple of y'all already. So please reach out. I know even the interns have seen me a lot in there. They just stop by like, "Hey, David, can you talk for a little bit?" Yeah, the best way you can get if I'm in there via Teams, text me quickly like, "Hey, are you in there? Can I stop by for 5 minutes?" I'm always there as well.
Yes, Senator Randy, go ahead.
I move that we end questioning for executive reports and move on to other business.
Senator Johnson seconds.
Okay, so we move to a period of voting. Correct. Are there any objections? Okay, well then unanimously we agree to move forward from the exec reports. Okay, so next up is a recurring theme for us. It's the approval of minutes. So I'm just going to pull that up and we can look at it. Let me know if you need more time to look at each page. Okay, are there any corrections anyone would like to propose? All right, then if there are no corrections, the minutes are approved as they are read to you here by unanimous consent. Okay, so now we move on to unfinished business in our agenda, and we're going to pretend I showed you the agenda already. So right now we are moving on to the 6th step of our agenda. So we're going to be looking at the resolution 2, the Catalani-Henderson resolution, and I would like to open the floor to discussion. I'll also pull up, or no, I would like to open the floor to any motions, and I'll also pull up the document. Senator Velasco, you are recognized.
I move to amend the document as submitted to the Senate and the Vice President.
Senator Johnson seconds.
One moment, please. Do we have any objections to those proposed amendments? Okay, does someone want to recognize President Skinner?
Sarah Quiventor recognizes President Skinner.
Senator Cowell seconds.
Couple of things on the legislation. In terms of the amendments, I would probably recommend maybe something like a 5-minute recess as the corrections are actually made, because we'll need to have a non-struck, non-highlighted document to vote on. That might take a little bit of time. that's a recommendation of mine. It's ultimately the Senate's decision, but we will have to make those changes. 1 second. All right. So, yeah. So I think y'all had a chance to look at the amendment. There were a number of changes made. If y'all have any questions, we're more than happy to entertain those about the amendments, Maria and I. But just wanted to throw that out there, and then my recommendation for a period of recess, a short period of recess for those changes to be made.
Point of information, my original motion to amend the document that was seconded, don't we have to vote on that before we move on?
Am I allowed to respond?
JK.
Does someone want to recognize President Skinner to respond? Okay, Senator McDowell.
I'd like to request. Hello? Okay. I'd like to request that the amendments are read before the Senate.
Would someone like to recognize President Skinner?
Senator Brown moves to recognize President Skinner.
Senator Hester seconds.
So there were a lot of minuscule changes made. So would it be okay if I read the amendments, just because there's a lot of nuances to that?
Are there any objections to that? I'm okay with it.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, so there were a few reasons for some of the changes. I don't think this is the document. Oh.
Madam Speaker, I move a recess of 5 minutes while the document is found, and perhaps that time could also be used to prepare the actual voting document in the way Devin suggested.
Senator Johnson seconds.
Could I make a recommendation real quick? Could I recommend a suspension of the rules, because we could also discuss on the amendments as this is kind of coming out and we're getting the document. That's just my recommendation. Y'all can do whatever. That's just
Senator Johnson would like to recognize Casey back there.
One moment. One moment.
Point of order, the motion to recess has to be dealt with before anything else because it was seconded. So we need to vote on that.
Okay, so we're going to proceed with the roll call vote for the motion to have a 5-minute recess.
Point of information, can we just like try to go for a unanimous vote, or like say like no one objects?
Okay. Are there any objections to the 5-minute recess? Motion.
Senator Mosley objects.
Okay, now we move to roll call vote.
Real quick, who seconded the recess motion? Okay, thanks. Senator Hester.
Point of information. I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we clarify what exactly this recess is for?
so they can prepare the document in the way that they need to prepare the document.
Okay, thank you.
Point of information. We're voting on the recess right now.
Yes, you are voting. If you say yes, that means you would like to take the recess.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Velasco would like to recognize Krista Coffey. Just roll call. Okay, Senator Hester.
No.
So that was a
it's-
recommendation. It wasn't a motion, so it's not in set. Senator Hester. Just it'll be fast.
Guys, let's try to keep the order. We're just gonna go through the roll call.
Yes.
Senator Shiloh.
No.
Senator Velasco, yes. Senator Brown.
Yes.
Senator McAdams. Senator McDowell.
Yes.
Senator Lee.
Yes.
Senator Banerjea.
Oh wait.
Just kidding. Senator Castellanos.
Yes.
Senator Johnson.
Yes.
Senator Mosley.
No.
Senator Tovar. Senator Von Boris.
No.
Senator M.
Yes.
Senator Cowell.
Yes.
Senator Schulte.
Yes.
Senator Quiventoro.
Yes.
My mic was slow.
Isabella, will you go ahead and vote?
Nay.
The motion passes by majority, so we are now in a 5-minute recess.
Y'all have to chill out while we're not in recess. Y'all have to stop goofing off when we're not in recess. Luke, I'm talking to y'all. Y'all have to stop goofing off when we're not in recess. Slamming your head in the desk, slapping the desk. Y'all are giggling a lot back here.
Hey, Abigail.
Yes, hello. Can you
Hey,
hear me?
so we're in a 5-minute recess.
Yes.
My timer is on. You can just chill. And hopefully we can get this piece of legislation passed, and then we'll consider you for appointment. Just letting you know, the audio is coming to the speak so everyone can hear you.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Okay. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay.
But yes.
Cool.
Be right here though.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Point of information, what would we be tabling?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. So currently we're discussing the amendment to the resolution. The movement to table would be to suspend discussion on this and move to the next item on the agenda. That would require a 2/3 vote.
And what is the next item on the agenda?
The appointment to the Senate.
Point of information. So if we were to table the motion, does that mean that we would not vote on this resolution today?
No, it would go to the end of the meeting, at which point we could take it up from the table.
Senator Brown seconds.
Okay, are there any objections? Okay, so we will move forward to the new senator appointment. Okay, so Abigail, are you there? Can you hear us? Abigail, would you mind saying something if you can hear us?
Abigail, it looks like you're muted.
Yeah, if you are talking, then you're muted. I don't know if I can. Would you mind typing in the chat if you can hear us? Can somebody recognize our VP? Yes, Senator McDowell.
I move to recognize the Vice President.
Senator Velasco seconds.
Hey, Abby. She doesn't know what's going on. She's muted. Abby, if you can just unmute yourself. She is texting in the Teams chat. But overall, just wanted to throw this out there. This is our first senator appointment for the year. Super excited, but I'm going to throw it back to you, Saloni.
Oh, is it working now? Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
it is. We can
I'm
hear you.
so sorry. I don't know
No, you're
what
good.
happened. For some reason, it would not let me unmute, and for some other reason, my camera isn't working all of a sudden, and I'm very confused.
No, you're totally fine. Point of
I'm
information. Can we proceed without the camera? With just the audio? Okay.
Yeah.
You're totally fine then, Abigail. If you want to give a speech for why you want to join the Senate, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, hi, I'm Abigail Guevara. I'm currently a senior studying geography and minoring history in the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences. Before the pandemic, I have participated in the University Program Council, the Society for Ecological Restoration, and briefly in the Geography Club on campus. I am a student employee and I have had the opportunity to assist at the Berkerson Performing Arts Center, the Department of Rehabilitation and Health Services, and I'm currently in Willis Library. I am running to help give voices for those who are underrepresented in class, and as a class senator, I will advocate for the betterment of my marginalized students by listening to their concerns and advocating for their rights. I've had many opportunities while participating in UPC and in my classes in general to talk to my fellow classmates and to understand and listen to what problems there are in class. As a first generation and Hispanic student, I understand what issues some students can face. One of these issues is career outlooks and opportunities after graduation. My class students feel that they do not have enough resources when it comes to future career opportunities might be available to them. Coming into the class program, I was personally terrified of my job prospects. I joined the university as a political science major with the idea that I would be a lawyer because that's the only thing I thought you can be as a political science undergrad. Obviously, that's not the case. There are many more opportunities you can be in any class major where you can be emotionally and financially satisfied with your job. I would like to improve resources for career outlooks by introducing a class-wide database that will include a list of alumni and their current position in life after graduation, whether their positions may be in the workforce, continuing education, or even in the military. There would also be a way for students to potentially outreach to these alumni in regards to the career pathways. The geography department has previously done this. They had like a list of their alumni and what year they graduated and where they are now, if they're working for a company or if they continue their education to a graduate school. And I would definitely seek help from professors and department heads in order to get their input and assistance on this database. It will be up to the departments to upkeep and reach out to the previous students for their consent because I feel like they would have more insight as to who their students are. And I know that there's newsletters that like go out to them, to alumni even now. This will encourage students to diversify their employment outlook, and it also gives confidence to students that they have a variety of career choices to look forward to after graduation. This may also help encourage incoming students to join class in these departments, seeing there's so much more you can do with liberal arts and social science degree. I plan on helping bridge the gap between class and mental health issues. My students feel that many professors don't know what it means to have mental health issues, and it reflects on their sometimes lack of compassion and willingness to work with their students. I've talked to my class students and they feel that class has let them down and made them feel alienated when it comes to their depression and anxiety. With that, I would like to introduce a college-wide training for faculty and staff on mental health issues. This would allow professors to be introduced to many challenges students might face and how they can assist students during this time. I have talked to some faculty and they actually support this idea and brought it up to other faculty members. The University of Houston has seminars on mental health, first aid that has had great success. And I would really like to reach out to various groups on campus, such as the care team, the Student Health and Wellness Center, and the psychology clinic to develop a seminar for this issue. I also tend to create safer spaces for my LGBTQ plus students. I would like to collaborate with the Pride Alliance, the LGBT faculty network, and class department heads and professors in creating a social science and humanities seminars that bring in LGBTQ plus individuals to speak on their research, papers, etc., and experiences being LGBTQ plus in their field. I feel like it would create a sense of unity for my LGBTQ plus students and will help them feel more comfortable within class, knowing they're not alone when it comes to their interest. I have spoken with students and they seem excited at this prospect of interacting and listening to someone who might have shared experiences with them, and they're in a field that the students are interested in pursuing. Another piece of legislation that I would like to put forth is more diversity and inclusion training. My LGBTQ plus students have voiced to me their concerns over the issue that many of their professors have not made an effort to respect their pronouns and preferred names. It has caused them unnecessary stress and alienation in their classes, so much that oftentimes they have chosen to skip class in fear of being misgendered or dead named. I applaud SGA and efforts in introducing and passing the legislation in summer 2021, Resolution 6. However, unfortunately, it's not done enough when it comes to professors' respects for such pronouns and preferred names. I know it seems like that I might not have that much experience when it comes to leadership roles on campus, but I know that my experience in my student working positions have given me knowledge and hands-on experience that has allowed me to hone in on my leadership skills. While working in my various jobs, I've had opportunities that were entrusted to me by my supervisors and coworkers to lead projects. For example, I am currently in charge of researching, documenting, and preparing various Wikipedia pages of minifigures in our archives and special collections department in the library. It's my responsibility to properly record, cite, and catalog these important people and publish my findings to Wikipedia. I take great pride in this project because I am leading it and I'm assisting others as needed, giving feedback and answering questions. I have developed patience when it comes to working with others, reliability, as well as team building skills. In another position, I was given the opportunity to mentor new employees, and I was able to teach them various skills that would enhance their work environment, such as properly communicating with patrons and fellow coworkers. I was able to understand each worker's differences in order to create a cohesive team that can work together in an efficient manner. Overall, my main goal as a class senator is unifying the college as a whole and helping students to the best of my abilities. I feel that SGA has done a lot of work for students that sometimes may not be visible, but has impacted student life in a tremendous way. I don't like to be a part of that. I am very eager to learn the ins and outs of student government, and I'm determined to make changes. I want to introduce legislatures that will make positive changes to class so students can have a positive experience. I may not have much experience when it comes to SGA itself, but I trust the knowledge and care of the current senators to help guide me along the way. In the end, we're all here for one purpose, and that is to improve the quality of life for UNT students on campus and in the classroom. So stay classy, and that would be it for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Abigail. Are there any? I'll go with Senator Velasco. I move to a period of questioning.
Senator Brown seconds.
Okay, we are now in a period of questioning. Okay. Hi, Abigail. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Okay. Awesome. Hi. So first of all, amazing speech introduction. It very much shows that you took time and effort and definitely prepared to this. So that already speaks so much about your character and your work ethic for the Senate. So my question is, as kind of we discussed before, not even just with meetings, but with tabling and office hours and working on legislation, there is a significant time commitment. Can you let us know a little bit about kind of, what your schedule looks like and how you kind of plan to incorporate, if appointed, Senate into this work schedule?
Yeah, honestly, I have great time management skills. I have created my schedule in a way where I have plenty of time off in the morning and in the afternoon on like Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So the commitment that I have and the time that I have, I will plan to fully develop it to SGA and making sure that I'm fully committed to this program.
Thank you. Senator Johnson, go ahead.
Just kind of going after what Senator Flasco said, I really liked how you said my students, my this, and it wasn't like you are above them, you're against them. It was you represent them. That's a true leadership skill set right there. But I wanted to kind of ask you the question of how many students have you relatively asked in that sense, if you could ballpark it?
Yeah, I would have to say maybe just from my time in UPC and the interactions that I've had with people online. I've talked to people online and in my classroom and out at the events, maybe between like 500 and 1,000. I don't really count how many people that I talk to. Just whenever
No,
they
that's amazing right there. That's a lot more. One thing I would say the SGA kind of struggles in is getting the word out for individual constituents. So that is very, very nice. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and I try on social media to really gauge into students. Like I always do polls, and I always ask like open-ended questions like what are some things that you, class students or students in general are having issues with. And I I have a lot of things that I would like to get done, and I have a lot of passion into helping students, and I haven't really had the opportunities in the past to help them in a like in an organization manner. It's just mostly been me talking to my professors and talking to faculty and staff as to what some changes that need to be done. So I would really like to make concrete efforts in SGA to help students.
Yes, Senator Alejandro, go ahead.
How's it going, Abigail? I can appreciate all the ideas you put forth and all the time that you put into it, but my question for you is a bit of a two-parter. Being that you're a senior and it seems like you've had some of these ideas for a while, what in the past has kept you from fulfilling an SGA role, and what now has changed to kind of put you over that edge to want to pursue it?
Yeah, freshman year, I joined UPC. I was very shy and I was very introverted, and that didn't really go away. And I was very scared to join any other organizations for fear that I wouldn't really fit in or I wouldn't really be making a difference. But with UPC, it was just something that was I felt really into, and I felt like it was something that I was meant to be in, and it really helped me with getting over my shyness and my insecurities. Sophomore year, I unfortunately developed severe depression, and I dropped out of a lot of my organizations. Um, and it was just like really hard on me my sophomore year, so that was a big drawback. Junior year, the pandemic happened, and I had to unfortunately move back home to my family in South Texas. A lot of things happened junior year. My mother is a nurse, and she contracted COVID. She was hospitalized. She was hospitalized for 2 weeks, so that really took a toll. My grandmother passed away, so that also prevented me from like doing a lot of things because there's just so much happening that I really had to put my focus on those things and my studies versus anything else. Fast forward to my senior year, and I think me being here has really, and all my past experiences have really given me time to focus on what I want to do to better help the university. I feel like I'm in a great mind space. I'm in a great, I just feel like it's my time now. Like everything's just falling together perfectly for me to be here, is what I feel.
Thank you for your response, and my condolences. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Senator Lee, go ahead.
Hey, Abigail. As the other senators have said, we're very glad to have you, and I'm excited to hear all the interests that you have. You have a lot of good ideas for legislation. So my question is, what would your response be? How would you handle a situation where your legislation either didn't pass, or as what happens often, legislation gets passed, we're all on board with it, and then it doesn't get enforced? So how would you kind of handle a situation like that, where like you put your heart into legislation and then it doesn't get to be carried out the way that we want it to?
I wouldn't take it personally. Like I understand there are more important issues, and obviously it wouldn't be like the right time for it to be there, obviously, if it didn't pass. So maybe in the future I would try to revamp it and try to pass it through again. Again, I haven't had much involvement with SGA, so I don't really know the ins and outs when it comes to passing legislation and introducing it. So I would really be relying on like David and my fellow senators on helping me and guiding me through that.
Thank you. I definitely think you have a lot of good ideas and passion, and I respect that a lot. wish you the best.
Thank you.
Senator Isabella? Can you unmute yourself or?
Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My question is, would you be willing to work with class? And if you work with class, how would you work with your fellow senators that are in class?
Yeah, I feel like since we're all a part of class, we would all come together for a unifying goal. We can work together in groups and try to come together and brainstorm like what type of legislation would be best suited for all of the students in class. I would definitely work with professors, department heads, as well as the deans, and we could all come together and maybe just work together. Sorry.
Senator Velasco?
I move to a period of closed discussion.
Senator Johnson seconds.
Does anybody want to recognize the vice president?
Senator Johnson recognizes Vice President.
Senator Brevetore seconds.
Since now we're in closed discussion, Saloni, I recommend for Abigail to leave the meeting and for her to return upon your request once the Senate has done deliberating on that matter.
Yes, so
Point of
Abigail?
information, are you able to right click on her name and deafen her?
Disable mic?
No, never mind.
No, I don't think. So Abigail, can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
So I would request that you leave the call for the duration of our discussion, and then you'll be informed when you can rejoin.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Point of information, since we are now in closed discussion,
Good? Yeah.
okay.
I was just saying if you left.
Shouldn't it only be senators and interns present in the room?
Okay, can someone recognize?
Miss Speaker.
Can someone recognize? Okay. Then Senator McDowell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker. It's my understanding that closed session in this case would specifically exclude the person that we're deliberating on. Executive session might look a little different than that, but
Okay, thank you for that point of clarification. We are now in closed discussion. Senator Velasco?
Okay. Personally, I think she's awesome. I think we can all agree, extremely prepared, answered every question efficiently, already has amazing ideas, already has an idea of what to do. So I don't get the vibe, or I guess the big thing right now has been like, what can you add to your resume? You know, but she's already has an idea of what she wants to do. Contact information, 500 to 1,000 people, like that's insane. Yeah, took it upon herself to add polls. Like I'm ready to vote at this point.
I would argue that we need her in that sense.
Absolutely.
And obviously, she did mention that she would be needing the support of her senators. Speaking as a class senator, I can tell her for a fact that will not be a problem. We will definitely be reaching out to her and partnering with her on hopefully many pieces of legislation.
Senator Powell?
If I might quote national icon RuPaul, slay period queen boots the house down, honey work.
Yes. Thank you for that. Do we have any other motions?
Senator Johnson motions.
Yes, Senator Johnson, go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you recognized me. Okay, sorry. I motion that we go to a period of voting for this appointment.
Yeah, you moved that we go to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Senator Mosley seconds.
Okay. We will begin roll call voting.
Point of information. Is this a vote that we can do through unanimous consent?
Oh, we can?
Can we? Do you know, Senator Cal?
That's correct. It's only legislation that is required to be.
Senator Brown moves to use unanimous consent voting.
Senator Shiloh seconds.
Okay. Are there any objections? Okay. Abigail is appointed to the Senate.
Ms. Speaker?
Yes.
Something interesting came to my attention. Since she has been appointed, she can now vote in the rest of the proceedings for the meeting.
Right.
Just wanted to inform the Senate.
Yes, thank you. And can
Point of
somebody
information.
inform to let her back in?
How many class vacancies are there left? A lot. Okay.
If you can give me a moment, I can get that information for you.
Can somebody recognize the Vice
No
President, please?
Senator Cowell moves to recognize David.
Senator Lee seconds.
I can send an updated form to y'all. I know the website has not been updated because we had 2, including Forrest. Now technically it should be 1, but I can send you an accurate number about all seats.
No rush. I was just curious. But thank you.
I would request that somebody lets her back in the chat. Informs her.
What was her last name?
Guevara. Totally said that wrong, but Guevara.
Thank you. That didn't work.
Do we think we'll need a recess to figure out how to get her to join?
Point of information. Does Abigail prefer Abigail or Abby? Do we know?
Also, point of information. Someone just remembered to ask Abigail's pronouns. It is it? Oh, okay. I have not looked at.
Hopefully that's. Otherwise, it's a public discussion. Abigail? Can you hear us? Can you use the mic, please? Senator Lee, you can
Point of
speak.
information. It's probably just her with her work versus her student email. And she did say she's
Okay,
a student
so
employee. So,
do you recommend that I request both of them?
which one was in the meeting earlier?
She's
great
having
question.
she appears to be having issues.
Joining?
I'm on the chat right now with her. I can keep working with her while we proceed. No, I did not.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Abigail.
I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what's happening with Teams. Today has been really weird.
No, you are totally fine. So I have great news. You have been unanimously appointed to the Senate.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I am so excited. I cannot wait to get started. Thank you. Okay.
And really quickly, sorry to interrupt in this joyous time, but can someone recognize David?
Senator Shiloh recognizes the VP to speak.
Does someone second?
Senator Lee seconds.
Thank you, Senate. Abigail, since you were appointed, congratulations. Second thing, that means you can now have full rights as a senator, so you get to vote on the next item of legislation. I will contact you after our meeting to set up a time to meet so you can get onboarded and be up to date with everything. So you should have the resources necessary to be successful as the new senator for class. But just be on the lookout for my email. And yeah, and that's it. Thank you, Senate.
Thank you so much.
Senator Velasco, go ahead.
I move to untable F 2021-R2 and proceed with discussion and voting.
Does anyone second that?
Senator Cowell seconds.
Okay, so we are now in a period of discussion for resolution 2.
Miss,
Yes.
this mic is a little spotty. So because it's been untabled, we're actually still deliberating on the amendment as moved. So we're still, the next vote would be on the amendment that was proposed to the document.
Thank you for clarifying that. And Senator Velasco?
If it's all right with the Senate, I can just read the amendment since I believe that's what we were going to do previously. Cool. Okay. So the first amendment is found in whereas the Tatum's Title IX concern was processed under policy 16.004, which was changed to had. As we discussed previously, most of these amendments are due to the meeting that Devin and Tatum had with Eve Shatine Bell, and her concern to definitely work on these, bring this to attention, and change policy. So most of that is, like I said, just wording, grammatical. Next amendment is in the second whereas clause, whereas the resolution procedures for complaints of discrimination, harassment, sexual misconduct, failure to report, retaliation filed with equal opportunity document, which contains instead of appellate. Next change in the next whereas clause, the appeals process for Title IX rulings are not easily found on UNT's websites and can only be found in policy 16.005, the title of which does not include reference to appeals, changed, and we did strike out and is not applicable in discrimination cases like Tatum's, since, like we said, Tatum's case is now would be filed under a different policy. The next amendment was inserting a whereas clause. Whereas Eve Shatine Bell, the Title IX coordinator, and Mo McGinnis, the Dean of Students, have agreed to amending policy 16.004 to allow complainants a right to appeal and has agreed to the creation of a committee consisting primarily of students to investigate possible amendments to Title IX policy as allowed by law. The next amendment would be in the next whereas clause. Whereas no further action has been taken by others in UNT administration to address the concern which athletes and students alike now face with this new information. Me and Devin felt this definitely needed to be added as, like I said, we have received tremendous support from Eve and Mo, so we just wanted to recognize that. The next amendment would be removing, let it further be resolved, an independent audit be conducted for the Title IX office related to Tatum Catalani Henderson's investigation to determine whether federal laws were violated. An audit of the Title IX office does not seem to be in order due to their compliance and how they have been working with us, and would seem to just be in inadequate use of resources, if any. Next amendment would be to include, let it be further resolved that the identity of the individual or company performing the aforementioned audit and the reasoning for the selection of this entity by the appropriate university official be made available to the public. Meaning whoever does these audits that was previously requested for UNT athletics, either the person or the reason for their choosing, like I said, just be made available to the public. And next amendment would be to strike. Let it be further resolved. A thorough review of Title IX policies be conducted and said policies amended to ensure a transparent and easy to access process for those involved in the Title IX investigation, and which give complainants the same rights to appeal as respondents. Like we stated before, Eve is already working on amending this policy, so just removing that. The next amendment would be where we would like the resolution be sent to the following individuals. We added Mo McGinnis, the Dean of Students, as he was mentioned in the resolution. And the last amendment would be under references, number 9, Appendix E. Saloni, if you don't mind scrolling down. Appendix, keep going. Almost there. Keep going. Nope, still more. Still more. Just keep going. Almost. There you go. Appendix E, email from Eve Shatimbo regarding action steps following the Catalani Henderson case. The last sentence of item 3 was cut off and says whether policy/procedure changes are necessary. So this is just a screenshot from Eve, just to provide documentation. And yeah, those are the amendments. I recognize President Skinner to speak.
Senator Cowell seconds.
And this is my fault, and I apologize. We might need to consider an amendment to the amendment. The resolved section, I think the second one that was struck, it didn't strike the let it be further resolved part. And so if we continued with the amendment as it is, we just have a blank let it be further resolved. The next one.
Point of information.
There you
Can
go.
we amend an amendment, or do we have to pass this one and then create a separate amendment?
If I may, Mr. Speaker. An amendment to an amendment is in order. Past that, it's definitely not recommended, but an amendment to an amendment is actually pretty common procedure.
Yes, Senator Brown.
Senator Brown moves to amend the amendment and strike let it be further resolved that.
Senator Shiloh seconds.
Okay. Any objections?
Point of information.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm confused as to what was just second.
So, can you see the document, Isabella?
Yes, I have it pulled up on my computer.
So if it's in the let it further be resolved under the highlighted portion in yellow where it says let it be further resolved that the identity of the individual or company, under that, the let it be further resolved that was striked, the actual words let it be further resolved that was not. So let's say if we were to prove it now, it would just be a blank section that says let it be further resolved. So what we did was striking that out as well.
Can you see the screen, Isabella?
Yes, I can.
So this section right here. So the rest of that clause has been struck through already, and then we're moving to amend this and strike this through. And there were no objections, unless you had tech issues and would like to.
No. You're good. You're good.
Point of information.
Click
strike
home. Click home at the very top.
Oh, right. Thank you. Yeah, but then I have to do them right. Thank you. Okay, so we've unanimously passed that amendment. Okay. Any motion? Senator Velasco, go ahead.
I move to approve the legislation as amended.
Senator Cowell seconds.
Parliamentary inquiry. So would this then be vote on the legislation or the amendment?
The motion, I believe what Senator Maria meant was she moves to approve the amendment.
Thank you, Senator.
And then we still have to vote on
Is that correct, Maria?
entirety of the legislation, if I'm mistaken. Yes, Senator Brown.
Senator Brown moves to a period of voting on the legislation.
Does someone second?
Senator Johnson seconds.
Okay. And since it is a piece of legislation, we will have to do roll call vote. And
Point of information. Let's not forget our new senator in the roll call.
yes, of course.
Seriously? Okay. Just one more point of information. This is an amendment, so it doesn't have to be by roll call vote.
I believe we're voting on the legislation.
Point of information.
Am I
She moved to approve and it was seconded. Did that require a vote to approve the amendment?
I believe it was
I
unanimously
believe,
approved.
yeah, I believe the amendment was unanimously approved. And now we can move into a period of voting on the actual legislation as a whole.
The current motion right now is to vote on the legislation as amended.
And point of order, it has been seconded, correct? Okay, so now we're doing the roll call vote. Cool.
Yes,
Thank you.
this is correct. And Ms. Secretary will take us away.
Point of information, just to confirm. So I do have that Senator Brown moved to a period of voting. Who was the second? Great, awesome. All right, friends. Senator Shiloh.
I'm sorry. Gotcha. I was like, is there
A, yes, whatever works. Yes. Senator Velasco, yes. Senator Brown.
Aye.
Senator McDowell.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Castellanos.
Aye.
Senator Johnson.
Aye.
Senator Mosley.
Aye.
Senator Tovar.
Aye.
Senator Von Boris.
Aye.
Senator M. He never came back, did he? Senator Cowell.
Aye.
Senator Schulte.
Aye.
And Senator Cleveland Toro.
Aye.
And our new Senator Abigail.
Aye.
Thanks, Queen. Okay, so so with 14 yes votes, F 2021-R2 is approved.
Point of information. I would just like to give a personal shout out to Senator Velasco and President Skinner for working tirelessly on this piece of legislation. And I think we should give them another round of applause for all their good work.
Information. I don't know if it's point of information, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I appreciate you guys so much. Like Grant said, me and Devin, the weeks that we've spent on this, almost a month now. And to feel extremely supported by the Senate is the most rewarding feeling in the whole world. And I'm super excited to let Tatum know that it is time for business. Thank you guys.
Yes, I definitely, for the record, second Grant's shout out. And I believe in terms of agenda business, unless anybody has any announcements that they would like to make. Yes, Senator McDowell.
Hey guys, thanks for holding in there. I know it can be rough sometimes. If you guys ever have any questions about procedure, I promise it actually makes things faster. I promise. If you guys have any questions about it, please shoot me an email. I'd love to get together and talk about it. Yes, that's my announcement.
Thank you, Senator McDowell and Senator Cowell.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, everyone, I think I mentioned this before. I'm working on legislation to amend Braille in UNT buildings. So if anybody would just like to look at room signs with me, please let me know. I cannot physically be in every single building at UNT. So I would like some help. Thank you.
Would you send us maybe a basic alphabet in the 0 through 9? That way we can look at some of the other locations.
So actually what the issue is with most of the signage is the Braille is in the wrong spot. And so some buildings, it's correct on like room signs, but incorrect on bathroom signs, vice versa. And I've heard rumors that some buildings don't have Braille at all, but I haven't stumbled upon that myself yet. Anyway, I have a list of all the buildings at UNT and descriptions of Braille status. Anyway, anybody who's interested can, I guess, send me a message on GroupMe or Teams or something, and we can coordinate. Thank you.
If you could do a thing where you like share the doc and we can like sign up, like I'll do this building.
Oh yeah,
That
that's
would-
a really good idea. Thank you. Okay.
Any other announcements?
Point of information. When somebody is trying to recognize, it's I move to recognize, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else anyone wants to share, and nobody
Just one
in
last one.
chat.
Just one.
Yes, go ahead.
Just want to shout out Saloni for doing really good.
Yeah.
In presiding this meeting.
That's much appreciated, Senator Lee. And thank you all for being supportive and bearing with us for like the tech and procedural and etc. issues. But yeah, if there are no other announcements, at 8:02, I adjourn this meeting.